Hello, my name is Laura Sigmund. I'm the principal here at Best Practices Consulting Services, where your business is our business. And today we're going to do the Ask the Expert segment. One of my favorite things that we do once a month, where you, small business owners, have the option to actually list your challenge, your complaint. And here at Best Practices, we will do our very best to review it as a group and then offer you a solution for strategies, whatever that may look like. If it's funding, if it's management, if it's HR, location strategy, and all the rest. So we're here to support. I'm going to go ahead and really quickly share my screen, show you something that we've been working on rather passionately for the last year and a half, especially as a result of COVID. We learned that there is no uniform or unilateral method of distinguishing stages of entrepreneurship, depending on if you're the micro lender, depending on if you're beyond the funding side, if you're the actual business owner. Depending on industry selection. There are so many caveats for how to select what stage of business you are in and whether or not we all agree with what that stage is. So my colleagues and I decided to design this piece. So I co-authored this with a group of what I want to call thought leaders in this space. So this is our definition for 4 stages of business: proof of concept, justified, maintenance, and then enterprise. Your proof of concept if you're still struggling to obtain and retain your customers. If your systems for delivering your products are not that well defined, meaning you don't know from one location to the next if you're doing just a pop-up, or if you don't have the right supply chain solutions in place. Sometimes you have access to your products, sometimes you don't. Of course, that speaks more germane to the actual B2C client business to the user consumer. You are still considered for us a proof of concept if you're the only member of the business, meaning it doesn't function without you. If you have no real process for forecasting your revenue, this again for me says that you're still yet a proof of concept. If you're unable to leave your 9 to 5, your gainful employment, to focus specifically on the business, then we still consider that proof of concept. And that may be very broad, and it may have a felt of all of the different industries and types of businesses in it. But from an underwriting standpoint, or from looking at a capacity building standpoint, it still needs to be proof of concept for our method of justification. Stage two, justified. There should be some frequency of sales. You have some understanding of your revenue model. You can pay yourself as a business owner. Typically, there's more than just you operating in the business. Your forecasting should be a quarterly, year over year. You should have some working knowledge as to what your end goal will look like, and have some method to track where you are in that. Not necessarily because you have a CPA and you're having that level, high level engagement with the CPA. We're not suggesting that. We're saying maybe even you have, you can write it on paper for over here. If you have some method of tracking your internal resources and controls, but may require something more systematized, you still fit within the justified space, especially if you're looking at your supply chain, payroll, accounting, insurance, things like that. You have enough continuity in your spot to actually justify having these in-games or suggestions from a consulting standpoint, reasons to procure additional services to support you in the spot. Your stage 3 or maintenance business is staffing considerations is something you're constantly thinking about. Staffing is something you're constantly thinking about because you're maybe in a growth mode or retention mode. Your business growth may come from new markets. You may see new product evolutions. You may see product realignment. You may look at both horizontal and vertical assessments. Your product or service elevation may provide you a new competitive edge because of new discoveries in the marketplace or new technologies. You may be considering how to automate because you realize that growing labor, growing business, and clients, and all the rest requires that you look at technology as a next step to benchmark your space into a growth mode. You should be able to look at your past performance to actually support whether or not you are adaptable for future environmental changes, whatever that may look like industry-wise or business operation-wise. And then the business should be able to meet the needs of your future clients, your past clients, with some restructuring or realignment in the organization. If that's simply moving from a LLC to an S Corp to C Corp to whatever, right? We're assuming that you have history based on your past performance, assuming that your sales cycle, your HR systems, your accounting methods, your business development are situated. You're in a good position, a good spot to actually determine from a maintenance standpoint what's next so that you don't go dormant, right? Stage 4, we consider those entities to be more enterprise fit. Typically, they are not situated around an actual founder or the business owner. They have legacy or systems in place to actually move or support their business moving beyond where they are right now. We have 4 stages: proof of concept, justified, maintenance, and then last, the enterprise operator or operation, because it's not single. Thank you so much for listening to our definition for the stages of business. And what we want to do as we move forward and we think about asking the expert as a segment, we're going to classify you in either proof of concept. We're going to ask you to select whether or not you're justified, whether or not you're in maintenance. And it has nothing to do with the number of years of service you've operated. It doesn't have anything to do with when you legally registered your business or when you opened your business bank account. It's a performance-based assessment. If the business is operating every single day, paying payroll, managing your accounting functions, you identify whether or not you're proof of concept and then moving to justified. Justified means you've gotten past all those initial hurdles. Sometimes that doesn't happen until you've been at it for a minute, but not necessarily. You could be in business just for a year and still be in a justified spot versus proof of concept. And coincidentally, you could be in business for 30 years and still not yet be justified. It is consistent with who the owner is, and then also with performance sales. Thank you so much for listening. Fill out the questionnaire if you've got a question for Ask the Experts. We would really love to hear how we can support you, and we'll do this segment every month. Looking forward to catching up with you all very soon. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.